Tony Khan is reading all the dirt sheets.
Right? He responds to a comment that says the difference is that Vince has the power and influence to take cheap shots. He's earned the right to make them. Tony Khan is Vince if you ordered him from Temu.
Oh, that's an insult.
You can shop like a billionaire, but you'll get the cheapest tat doing so. And he responds.
Just hold on, just to let people know, Temu.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay, so it's a website that offers things at an 80 to 90% discount. They'll show you pictures of items, and then when you get it, it's nothing like the picture. And it takes like a year for your stuff to be delivered. So you get stuff super duper cheap, but it is like the biggest knockoff company out there. And I think they're made in China. I think it's overseas.
Okay.
So
he responds with, yes, Vince has allegedly used his power and influence to shoot a lot of shots.
Okay.
So what is he referring to there when he says shoot a lot of shots?
I don't know.
Is he referring to Vince's infidelity?
Don't know.
Okay. Is he referring to Vince and monopoly of the wrestling industry? Like, what's he referring to?
It could go either way.
You know?
You interpret it the way you want to interpret it.
Has Vince McMahon ever referenced Tony Khan once in anything?
No, because Vince McMahon doesn't have to. They're not competition for WWE. They don't see them as competition. Even though they technically are, they don't see them as a threat, right? Turn it around. Tony Khan is shaking in his boots anytime WWE or NXT does something. They're chasing Vince. Vince is not chasing AEW or Tony Khan. So there's your difference. Vince will never talk about him.
Right.
They will never reference them on Raw or SmackDown. They don't have to.
Yeah, it seems like a war between, if anything, the Triple H version of WWE and Tony Khan, right? So to take a cheap shot at Vince when just a fan brings up Vince is real defensive.
He's paranoid.
From my point of view.
He's paranoid right now. He is online on his own free time, searching every dirt sheet for little comments here and there. And he's responding to them. Now, Vince has a team, right? And we know that for a fact because we've been flagged for YouTube stuff, right? So that's not Vince McMahon sitting there, with the mouse clicking. He's got a team to do that. This is Tony Khan. Tony Khan, in his mind, he wants to know what's being said, when it's being said, who's saying it about him, and he wants to respond. And he's got to think twice about what he says because he is the authority figure. And it makes him look bad. It puts him in a bad light when he acts like a mark and starts fighting with fans. And I say that in a good way because we're all marks. Let me just reiterate, but still it's like he is now stepping down as the CEO or the president of AEW. And he's just, acting like he's a fan.
Right.
And he's responding and he should not be, but to me, he's the type of person that if somebody says Tony Khan's a tool, he needs to respond and tell you why he's not a tool. You know what I'm saying? Because it's in his head. What?
I said, let me get my phone.
It's in his head. Like so many times, like Paul Heyman always told me, you have to have a thick skin to be in this business. And things used to make me cry all the time. And he's like, don't read the dirt sheets. Plain and simple. You don't see it. You don't worry about it. And he goes, for every one person that talks shit about you, there's 100 who love you. So worry about the 100 people who love you. Don't worry about that one person who's making a negative comment.
But even he's had his moments. I referenced before, there was an interview show I did a few years ago. Somebody talked bad about him. He went on a Saturday afternoon Twitter tirade about how what was said on the interview was false. So even Paul Heyman has his weak moments where it gets to him and goes after it. Everybody
has insecurities. There's not one person out there that's 100% confident about themselves. There's always at least 1%. Some people, it's worse. Like I said, I used to cry all the time. And now that I'm older, I realize you cannot please everybody in this world. So I think Tony needs to just take a step back and worry about his company and worry about filling those seats that are empty and trying to get new fans to turn on the product. And the numbers still aren't good. Like, wrestling today is not seen like it was like in the 90s. And even in the 2000s, like the numbers were so much higher. The viewership, it's down considerably. So while 200,000 might have been not a lot back in the day, in this day and age, it is, because they can barely hit 1 million viewers, during the week on their weekly TV show. When are the numbers ever at 1 million anymore? They're really not. It's not very often.
Yeah.
So a discrepancy of 200,000, people are either changing the channel or they're not tuning into you, and they're not buying tickets.
No.
So what's going on? He's got to take a step back and say, listen, I'm doing something wrong. He needs a team. He needs support system to help him. He needs to get off the internet and stop with this bullshit about reading all these comments. Who cares? In his mind, he should be thinking, how do I turn this around? How do I make this a positive out of a negative? Not fighting with fans. Right. That just shows like his insecurities, and it makes him look ridiculous.
This was the one that I didn't get. And somebody like him is this guy who presents himself as this, I'm a big fan. I love all kinds of wrestling, old school, Japan, Mexico. This tweet was the one that I just couldn't really wrap my head around. And it was in reference to the ratings. And it said, this week, 2 active decades-long rating streaks from 2 great legends were ended. With all due respect, until this week's head-to-head AEW on TBS versus WWE on USA, neither John Cena nor Undertaker had ever been on a WWE show with under 1 million total viewers, plus under 400K in the demo. So he just called out John Cena and The Undertaker as not being a draw.
Right.
WWE, which was completely uncalled for. And he just took 2 shots at guys who are established legends and have really no dog in this fight.
Yeah, he's just taking cheap shots here. And the program that he's talking about, they were head to head with AEW, correct?
Yes.
So what were the numbers though? Under 1 million, was it the numbers?
That's the final NXT number was like 960 something or 930 something.
Still, your show is over 200,000 viewers less.
But they lost. AEW
lost.
That's
what I'm saying. So what? It doesn't matter. Like he's trying to throw up this fact, but it's still, your show came in second again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Those 200,000 people would rather look at John Cena and the Undertaker than watch anything that AEW is offering.
Yeah, and then I don't know if he deleted it or not, because I can't find it. But then there's the one where there was an article, so another one of the dirt sheet sites tweeted about the war, the one night war, the Tuesday night war, and it was a picture of Triple H and Shawn Michaels in the DX attire, and it was like, the war is on. And he retweeted that article with a meme or some sort of picture, and it said "bald asshole." And somebody I know thought that was very childish, and and I agree, it is very childish.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who's in a powerful position. That it's not even it's a cheap shot. It's so lame.
If
it's a credibility killer.
Listen, if they came back. If AEW came back and won that week's ratings, right? Then I can see Tony doing some kind of tweet and gloating. We reached over 1 million viewers this week, and thank you to everybody. Like in a professional manner kind of deal, like, but still gloating about it. But when your program is still not outperforming your opposition and you're trying to take cheap shots at the other company, it just makes you look weak, and it makes him look like a fool. And he just needs to stay off of social media. The only thing that he does that I like is on Wednesday nights, like for Dynamite, he'll go, thank you to whoever tuned in this evening. We had a great show, blah, blah. That I can deal with. That is great. Like, do that all day. Don't take these stupid, lame shots and, curse and you don't see Vince doing it. Just like the media stuff that they were doing after the shows. He's sitting there dropping F-bombs and being all crazy, and you don't see Vince doing that. You don't see Hunter doing that.
Vince didn't go to any of those.
But I'm just saying, you don't see them using profanities like that and just being like, I don't know. It's like they're losing their minds. It doesn't look professional, you know? And I talked about it with one of the workers that worked there, and they agreed with me. I'm not going to say who it was. 100% agreed with me, you know? And they're just like, he does what he wants to do. I'm like, well, yeah, it's his company. He can do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's right. And it doesn't make you guys look professional.